Top 10 facts about humans. Chat, what is your favorite fact about humans? Mine is... I always think penises are weird. Imagine you're an alien who finds us. You see a humanoid, ape-like creature, and then it has this weird thing down there. This weird... like the finger of E.T., you know? Like this weird tentacle, outgoing thing, man. I always thought penises so weird. Like you have this long thing that docks inside the other gender, and I always felt that's weird. Anyway. They aren't weird. Your penis is probably very weird. Water is hydrating. I've heard about it.
It's an ordinary day on planet Earth. Well, on one side, at least. At the brink of dawn, the planet's inhabitants spring to life. The species of the Earth has a natural ranking system. It's either hunt or be hunted. But one species has managed to stand above the rest. With their fierce intelligence, they have become the rulers of this planet. A species with nothing to fear but their own.
Some of you don't look like it, but...
humans. Unstoppable killing machines. Marvelous. Humans have existed for quite some time. The very first humans began to emerge around 6 million years ago on the continent now known as Africa. These early humans looked more like apes, except now they could walk on 2 legs instead of 4. This was a crucial step for human evolution, as we now had 2 spare hands we could freely use for other purposes. Over millions of years, humans continued to evolve in Africa, and species like Neanderthals, Homo erectus, and of course Homo sapiens flourished.
Let me ban Emperor for a sec, man. Dude, are you one Pebbles alt account, man?
Between 60 to 80,000 years ago, Homo sapiens began migrating away from Africa, and they are now the only surviving species of the genus Homo. Blood. Humans have lots of it. In fact, if you were to take the blood vessels out of a human body, stretch them out into one single long tube, it would kill that person. That tube would also be 160,000 kilometers.
Lisa, look at this. If I take all your blood tubes out of your body and put them next to you, it's 160,000 kilometers. Wow. If you put all lung bubbles open, it's a football field. Oh, that's interesting. And did you know that I love you? Thank you for the food. We have potatoes and spinach and eggs. Epic, man. Epic.
Long. The lungs are quite enormous as well, because the inside of a human lung have some extremely complex features. Combined, these features give the human lung an internal surface area of roughly 70 square meters, about the size of half a tennis court. This would also kill the human.
Lisa said a football field. Did she just fucking... Is she fake news, Andy? Is she non-stop? Lisa, man.
Carl Sagan once said, and I quote, "We are made of star stuff."
Well, we are, right?
And while it sounds like something poetic,
I think this is, if you ever feel hopeless and like God doesn't exist, I always think this is the most beautiful thought on Earth. We are all the same, and we're all made of the same material. If the Big Bang is real, you and me, everything that ever existed, has once been one. I think that is...
It's actually true. The elements that make up our bodies came from exploding stars or supernovas. But how much of our bodies are made of stardust? The average human body contains 7 octillion atoms. That's a 7 with 27 zeros. Now, to figure this out, we need to go back to the very beginning, the Big Bang. To be completely honest though, we don't actually know how the universe began, or if it had a beginning at all. But for the sake of simplicity and the fact that it is the most accepted theory, let's go with the Big Bang. It goes like this. Not long after the universe came to be, subatomic particles assembled into hydrogen and helium, the 2 simplest forms of atoms. Once enough time had passed, these 2 elements clumped together and the first ever stars were born. All the other heavier elements, like the iron in your blood, came from these stars. So all we really need to do is
The iron in your blood is coming from a fucking
Figure
star.
out how much hydrogen and helium our bodies contain and then subtract that from 7 octillion. Turns out that we basically have no helium in our bodies and roughly 4.7 octillion hydrogen atoms. So 7 minus 4.7 gives us 2.3 octillion atoms that came from the stars. In other words, humans are a little more.
It's like you're on Instagram.
More than 30% stardust.
God damn. Cult of the
Until
atom?
life is found elsewhere, humanity is the most intelligent civilization in the known universe. We have come
the way he oh, that was a good pause, man.
a long way, and our progress and achievements continue at an ever-increasing rate. But in the beginning, progress was very slow. The use of stone tools first emerged around 2.5 million years ago, and the first evidence of controlled fire dates back to 400,000 years ago. Compare that to more recent events and it's a completely different story. Only in the last 5,000 years or so, humans went from the invention of written language to standing on the moon. This should give you an idea of how important this invention really was. You could now write down your ideas, your knowledge, your wisdom, and future generations could become just as wise in a fraction of the time, simply by reading. Basically, humans now had the option to save and load whenever they wanted. Exercise is a crucial activity for humans to stay healthy.
Once again, a lot of you guys just tuned in. I'm currently in physiotherapy, and today I was at my physiotherapist, and she's kind of teaching me how my body is just completely wrong. Everything in my body is wrong. All my stances, the way I work out, everything is wrong, and it's really interesting how she's teaching me. She's like, "Please, sir, show me how you work out," and I show it. And she's like, "So this is wrong. Your knees are wrong. You're killing your blah blah blah." It's kind of crazy, man. How much you can do wrong in workouts, man.
Usually, the stronger you are, the better you will feel. To build muscle mass or to get fit, you repeat a certain motion over and over again to increase your strength. The general idea is that you have to move around. Or do you? A study from 2007 tested 3 groups of people for 2 weeks. The first group did nothing outside of their usual routine. The second group exercised one specific muscle 3 times a week. Now the third group were given instructions to only imagine doing the same type of exercise as the second group 3 times a week. The control group who didn't do anything saw no difference. The second group who exercised saw 28% increase in strength, no surprises there. But the third group who only imagined exercising saw 24% gain in strength.
That study must be looked into deeper. This is just a period of 2 weeks. They're probably imagining having more power, so the brain is giving the placebo effect and they actually have more power, but in the long run, this could not be equal. I don't believe that.
Almost as much as the group who actually worked out. How or why this works, we don't really know.
That makes no sense.
15% of people are missing the muscle named palmaris longus.
Yeah, right?
To see if you have it, stretch out your hand and touch your pinky with your thumb. Now, by flexing the wrist, you should see a thin muscle right in the middle like this. If it's not there, you're one of the 15%.
Yeah, you're a weirdo if you don't have that. You're probably just a clone, man, made by Donald
When
Trump.
we think of the fastest creatures on the planet, humans usually aren't very high up on that list. But when it comes to efficiency and endurance, it's a different story. In fact, over long distances, humans can outrun nearly every other animal on the planet. Our anatomy suggests that millions of years ago, running prey to death was a tactic used by primitive man to survive on the African savanna. There are many reasons why we are such good long-distance runners. For example, our bodies can sweat to regulate temperature, which means we can maintain a faster pace for far longer. Many animals simply can't do that. So once their internal temperature reaches a certain point, they are forced to stop or at least slow down. We can also breathe at a very fast pace compared to many other animals. Basically, human bodies are finely tuned running machines. Well, some human bodies. In the same way that fireflies and deep-sea animals glow to illuminate their surroundings and to attract possible mates, humans also glow in the dark. Human bioluminescence is a side effect of chemical and metabolic reactions within our bodies. In fact, all animals emit a small amount of light as a result of this, but the light we emit is 1,000 times weaker than what the human eye can perceive.
What?
Throughout history, humans have been standing up. Let me explain. We began as hunters and gatherers. We were constantly on our feet. It was necessary to our survival and everyday tasks. We simply couldn't afford to sit around watching YouTube videos about the dangers of sitting. In essence, we only sat down.
Yeah, my physiotherapist said today, we talked about children and how children are kind of trash nowadays because of reasons. And she's an expert, right? She's a physiotherapist, and she said the worst thing that ever happened to humans is the chair. We're sitting so much, and sitting is the most unnatural thing to a human body, right? One day, after Charles Darwin, right, something's gonna happen, that our bodies will start changing in many, 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 many years. But, yeah, sitting is very bad, especially for children, right? Children need to stand up, they need to run around, they can't sit in front of the tablet, they can't sit in school all the time, they have to fucking move, man, and walk. She said she was part of a... They were examining children and their skills years ago, 2010, and so many children they can't even jump on one leg anymore. They can't walk backwards because in their childhood they're not even learning anymore what basic body behavior is because it's not happening anymore. You don't run around like look at these new generations. They don't go out and run around in the forest. The parents are scared. No, don't go out. Something might happen. Here's a tablet. Play games, and it's really really bad. For their body culture, for yeah, thank you, Jockbjörn and Mila Khalifa or something.
To rest and or eat, but as technology progressed, we became lazy. We started sitting down a lot more. Take myself as an example. Both
bad.
my job and many of my hobbies require me to sit down for entire days on end. In my defense, though, I am doing other things too.
Like just today, she really showed me what's wrong with me. She showed me certain stretches. And she was like, well, Mr. K, do that. And I'm like, and she was like, dude, you're 30 and you can't do that. It's time to fucking stand up, dude. She's doing a great job, man.
Counteract the negativities of sitting, or so I thought. Turns out that sitting down is a serious risk to your health, despite of how much you work out or try to move around. The benefits of exercise are heavily outweighed by the negative effects of sitting. It makes you fat, increase the risk of heart-related diseases, higher risk of diabetes, gives you severe back and neck problems, and makes your bones a lot weaker, especially in your legs as they're not used at all when you're sitting. But the most alarming fact is that it significantly lowers your life expectancy. A study that was conducted over an 8-year period reveals that if you're sitting down more than 7 hours per day, you have a 61%
Holy, what? Ach du Scheiße, ey. Why do I feel like 100% of chat is part of the 61%? Holy shit, man. Holy shit.
Higher risk of dying compared to people who sit less than 2 hours per day. Researchers say that the only thing you can do to counter
the average standing up chat versus the basic sitting enjoyer. Hey, I made a normie meme! No jokes, all jokes aside, man. Hey, what's up, feedback? I'm doing the thing tonight between you and me. My physiotherapist and all my doctors, they all say, when I get my new streaming room, when me and Lisa move out one day, I will have a standing desk. There's a desk at IKEA that can go up and down. Like, I will sit 2 hours streaming, and then I will stream standing again. The experts are so all united. This is the most important shit. You have to fucking stand. That's what they tell me, and I kind of believe them. This is so massive, dude.
Practice is by not sitting. Just working out on the side isn't enough. It's the fact that you're sitting down at all that slowly kills you. Brought to you by someone who definitely didn't spend the entire time of making this video sitting down.
Yeah, in my new room,
from out here, the planet looks peaceful. This massive sphere is slowly spinning, providing everything we need to survive and more. It feels surreal to think that throughout history, this was everything. This planet was our universe. Beyond the sky was just as inconceivable to them as beyond the universe is to us. It almost looks indestructible. Surely nothing as tiny as a human could possibly have any effect on this grand planet we call home. For the past 40 years, the Earth has lost half of its wildlife. Meanwhile, the human population has gone from just under 4 billion to 7.2 billion.
I'm gonna be a bit edgy here. Whenever I hear this stuff, right? You watch these documentaries, David Attenborough, all that stuff, and they're like, yeah, man, all the animals are dying and the humans are just getting bigger and bigger. I feel like taking apart pollution and humans killing the planet with plastic and everything. If you just basically look at this, unemotional objective, this is very normal. You have a dominant species that is more successful than the others, so the other less successful species are going slowly away. I think this is this is biology and natural selection, man, that humans are so strong. But on the other, that is just very basic and objective. But also, I think this is natural. But also, I believe here's my counter though. When a dominant race on a planet, like humans, reaches a certain level of intelligence, they should have enough IQ to understand to preserve wildlife. You don't need to kill and push them out anymore, you know? You can actually kind of help them out a bit when you reach a high level.
If this can't convince us that there's something wrong with the way we live, it makes you wonder if anything can. But let's keep going. Forests cover 31% of the land area on this planet. They produce vital oxygen and provide homes for millions of unique and exotic animals. Obviously, we need to get rid of that. So far, we managed to cut down half of the forests around the world, and we're only getting better and more efficient at it. In other words, we are winning.
Wow, winning!
We are also winning against the climate. Take this nice illustration, for example. Dark blue indicates areas cooler than average, and yellow and red indicates how much we are winning. The list could go on for—
We're all gonna fucking die, chat. It's over. Climate change isn't real. It's a natural effect. Yeah, but you're gonna fucking burn to death on your fucking front porch. That's fucking natural, Junge. Only if you're natural about you is your fucking—
For a while, and frankly, it just gets worse. Water pollution, air pollution, land pollution.
Don't you hate stuff like this? Because it just makes you feel bad? Like you're sitting home, you're watching your streamer, you're playing games, you're jerking off, you're eating pizza, and then this fucker tells you the world is dying, and you sit at home like, fuck, he's kind of right, but I also don't want to change, you know?
And as I've previously talked about, dude, we are turning our oceans into acid through a process called ocean acidification. But the worst part of all of this is why we are doing it and who it benefits. We don't really need more of anything. There's enough for everyone to survive and live fairly comfortable lives. In fact, just for demonstration, you could fit the entire human population into the state of Texas. The problem is our greed. Yeah. We want more. Who wants to survive and just live when you can have more than that? It has been estimated that the average American lifestyle requires 24 acres of land. If this was divided equally among everyone, we would need 10 planets.
I want to be an Iron Legion.
Essentially, we are destroying the only planet we have just because surviving is boring, and the short-term goal of getting what we want now is a lot more important than any long-term side effects. Nothing makes this more clear than this. The richest 1,000 individuals—
I like this YouTube channel. The first 9 facts is like, haha, funny, and then he just hits you in the face with like real shit.
In the world now control as much wealth as the poorest 2.5 billion people.
Yeah, and I know we always like to argue they worked for it, right? Fuck tax, I get it. But if you just are human for a second, if everyone in chat just puts aside their dumbass politics and their ego, and for once in their life tries to be neutral and ethical, that you realize that that is not fucking okay, man. And that if the human race together would work against this, man, we could achieve so much more, man. And that is just a universal truth.
On the planet, By 2016, the wealthiest 1% would have more than the rest of the entire population.
By when?
The wealthiest 1% would have more than
2016.
the rest of the entire population.
I think it's even worse nowadays, even because of Corona. Corona made the rich so much richer.
Combined. Surely, nothing as tiny as a
How much longer
human
can this
could
keep going on,
possibly
right?
have any effect on this grand planet we call home.
Goddamn, too real, man.